seriously scared this month that I would never be able to fully open my heart. Yes, this was what was coming up for me during my PMS this past month. Things from paranoia, fear, physical pain, all leading back to why my period is such a blessing. And this video is dedicated to menstrual magic. Why your period is actually a blessing, how to harness the cycle, and how might you be sabotaging yourself without even really knowing it. In today's video, we're going to learn why your period is actually a blessing. Yes, the PMS, yes, the acne, yes, the bloating, and especially the emotions. And number two, we're going to learn how to actually harness this. Yeah, you might believe me, it's a blessing, but what can we actually do about it? Harnessing this power in order to manifest what you do want in your life. And three, what are the top ways that you might be holding yourself back from actually harnessing this power and living the life of your dreams? Coming up. And disclaimer, if you guys don't have your period, if you're a woman or not, you can always follow the moon cycle. You can use the period for the full moon or the new moon. Most women have their periods on the new moon. That is in sync with the rhythms of the earth and the kind of the archetype of the mother. Or women typically have their periods on the full moon, which is the healer, the wise woman, the woman who's leading the way while the other women are having their periods. So, doesn't matter if you are a woman or if you have a period, this harnessing the power of the cycle works no matter what. To start off, number one, why your period is actually a blessing. So, like I said a moment ago, for me, this past period, what has been come up the past month, not even the last week, has been this heart chakra related things. And finally, 2 days ago, I was watching the new Black Panther, and let me tell y'all, this heart broke open. And yes, I was on my period, and yes, you could say it's the hormones, but honestly, it was all happening for me. The stuff that was stuck, the stuff that's been there that I might not even know that was there, was ready to come to the surface. And that is what it means to have PMS and why this is a blessing. And Eckhart Tolle talks a lot about the pain body. And this is the prime opportunity, a blessing as a woman, each and every month, that we get a deeper access into this pain body or your ego, the subconscious, that's ready to be healed. We all know the misconceptions of, oh, she's just PMSing, she's over emotional. But what if this was just that direct access to your pain body, wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard, wanting to be loved? Because underneath that is more of who you truly are. Underneath that is more of the life that you have always dreamt of. Number two, harnessing the power of our cycle. So now we've established that having our periods and the emotional side of everything is a blessing, that every single thing is happening for us. Whatever is coming up from our pain body this month is because it's ready to be seen and felt and heard. But how do we actually do this after not knowing this for our whole entire lives? What do we actually do to practice this? Well, for me, what I do when I work with any client, whether it's period related or not, is to make an emotions list. This is so simple. You can do this any time of the month. Super powerful right before your period starts. I like to have people do it for at least a month and really see what the cycles look like. Writing down a list at the end of the day of the emotions you felt during that day. It's not the actual thing that happened. She said this, he did that. It's actually going through your mind's eye, going through the day as an observer of your day. And how did you feel throughout the day? You felt a little frustration, a hit of anger, resentment, happy, joyful, blissful, hilarious, whatever it is, writing those emotions down. They don't have to be 10 million emotions, just a few emotions a day. And after we do this for at least a week, we're going to start to see the patterns that are coming up, especially during our luteal phase or the PMS phase of our cycle, because our subconscious is literally addicted to literally running a program, like a computer running a software program for these emotions. So what can we do about it? If we don't want to if we're ready to clear that frustration, or like for me, it was this fear of opening my heart, this fear of really paranoia of not feeling safe. Are we ready to let those emotions go? Are we ready to feel and process this? So harnessing our cycle, what can we do? Learning how to process it. When we process this, we first need to acknowledge that this emotion is coming up, to accept it, that it's happening and it's inside of us. 3, become grateful that this is actually happening for us. And after we've done all of those steps and really felt that emotion, not pushing it down, not trying to avoid it, but really felt it, we can start to write the new story, which is where the wisdom underneath is going to come from. So I remember when, using this as an example, I remember when my last period came, that a lot of frustration and anger came up for me. And I accepted that this was coming up for me. I remember when I was a little girl and how frustrated I was at my dad for the first time ever feeling this emotion. And I'm so grateful that I get to now feel this and heal it. And now, because of this, I was able to heal this part of me. Now, because of this, I was able to move through the frustration and anger and realize how much happiness was on the other side. That I was just trying to dampen my own power into what I really wanted. Lastly, the 3 ways that might be holding you back from actually harnessing the power of your period or your emotions. Number 1 is to really not allow yourself to feel, that you suppressed all of your emotions down, whether it's period related or not. You feel like the meltdowns are just constant self-sabotage, and the emotions are pushing you 10 million steps backwards instead of forward. Number 2, the not enoughs, the thoughts and the beliefs that are subconscious, that pain body we talked about, that you can't seem to change. You feel like you are stuck in the victimhood of your current reality, of your current life, your current state, current health, and you can't figure out why you can't change. And number 3 is not trusting yourself or your intuition or the universe itself, because, like I said multiple times in this video, everything, and I mean everything, even your period, is happening for you. So what do we do with those 3 things that we might be holding ourselves back from? So the first one, we're going to transition into the emotional overwhelm and meltdowns into an emotional powerhouse, just by shifting the perception that we now know that feeling our emotions, that they all are happening for us, and that actually when we're able to feel it and process it and start to write that new story, are going to help us propel us forward into who we really truly are, rather than suppressing all of that energy. And if you guys have felt anxiety before, or raise your hand, do you know how much energy that takes out of you? And the same things to go when you're trying to avoid or suppress the emotion and not allowing yourself to feel it. That's when those emotional overwhelm meltdowns come up. It takes so much energy. So why not feel the emotions when they come up, process it, and allow that momentum to continue you forward, because that's what they're really here for. Number 2, the not enoughs, that self-sabotage, those beliefs and thoughts that we don't even realize are there. We are going to transition those into divine discipline and alignment. This is what I love to call reparenting ourselves. But really, It's learning to be able to feel those emotions like we just said and understand the wisdom underneath. But here's the key part. Know when to align when the shit hits the fan. Because even though we process things like anger, frustration, well, let me tell you, we know that's going to be the last time we felt those emotions ever. So learning this divine discipline or reparenting is really the balance of, okay, needing to dive deep and feeling where this is coming up from, and or processing it and going into something like alignment meditation, breath work, yoga, any type of movement, swimming, getting outside in the sun. This is going to allow us to open our focus, and so we can really raise our vibrations so we can remember who we really are. And that isn't this small, frustrated, angry person. Because most of the time we cannot solve a problem with the same level of consciousness that created that. And same goes with using your emotions or your period in order to manifest or transform your life. So we need to raise that vibration up, or just widen our focus so we're not narrowly focused on the problem or the emotion at hand. Number 3, not being able to trust ourselves or the universe or listen to our intuition. We can begin to shift into what I love to call the awakened woman. And this is a woman who fully trusts herself and the universe in order to create the life she dreams of, who she really is. How do we do this? Well, for me, how I build trust in my life and in myself and relationships is I like to remind myself all the times I trusted myself and it actually worked out. And spoiler alert, it always works out. So creating a list of small things and little things that as you start to become the emotional powerhouse, as you start to move into this divine discipline, that you can remind yourself, remind this monkey brain that it's all happening for you. You can trust yourself. Everything is actually always getting better for you. And you are able to let go and trust and be open, be in receptive mode, just like we talked about in divine discipline alignment. When we open our focus away from the problem or the vibration, the unalignment at hand, when we can open this focus, what really happens is that we allow ourselves to receive. We allow ourselves to listen, from divine guidance to your partner to a random person you meet or listen to on a podcast or a YouTube channel. You allow the information that is really you, your higher self, to speak to you. You're not trying to force things because you don't trust the higher powers that be. You allow life itself to flow to you. So before we go, I want to ask you guys 2 questions. After listening to all of this, soaking this wisdom up that your period, your PMS, everything is happening for you, what if the curse was actually your cure? What if this was actually true? How would you act differently this month? And secondly, what if your deepest pains and darkest moments were all leading you to your dreams? And these 2 questions are just another way to say, this is all happening for you. My podcast, Witchy Wellness Radio, which is also on YouTube every Wednesday, our motto is your body and your emotions are not in the way, they are leading the way. And it was inspired by this simple but so powerful and impactful wisdom that every single thing in your life, including your period and PMS, is happening for you. It's reminding you who you really are. And that is it, manifesting menstrual magic. I hope you guys got so much out of this video, but mostly how to harness the power of this beautiful blessing that is to be a woman accessing your pain body. And in order to really harness that power and find out who you really are, leave a comment below if you resonated with this, what came up for you, What emotions did you clear this month? And don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button when I release a video every single Monday and a podcast every single Wednesday here on YouTube. I'm so grateful for each and every single one of you. And please remember that your body, your emotions, they are not in the way. They are leading your way. Every single thing is happening for you. Until then, I'll see you next week.